working together with my classmates from Group 1 to create a written output from the article entitled COVID-19 Vaccine by WebMD has given me significant learnings. Because of the pandemic, you can only make plans with your group purely online. While there are some cons to it such as internet speed, time, connection, and many more, in order to overcome this, I learned that there really should be teamwork and cooperation in order for us to succeed in working together effectively. Trust and self-awareness should also be there in order to do our responsibilities. With these combined efforts, we were able to finish our written output ahead of time. This activity was quite enlightening to me. What I learned from the COVID-19 vaccine article is that it really takes a long time to be able to develop a new vaccine that will be both safe and effective for the general community. I also learned some of the ways to create the vaccine for the novel coronavirus, such as the using of mRNA and DNA from the spikes of the protein of the novel coronavirus, and also using other viruses like MERS-CoV, SARS-CoV, and adenovirus, and also RVSV in order to trigger an immune response from your system. Pharmacology is a study of how the drug's chemical components affect our body and how our body reacts to it. Thus, the information from the article regarding the progress and ways to create the vaccine is quite informative as it can be related to the current concept of pharmacology. There are three branches of pharmacology. The first is pharmacokinetics, which is the body's effect on the drug as it moves inside us. The second is pharmacodynamics, which is how the body reacts to the drug. And lastly, the third is pharmacotherapeutics, which are the proper selection and use of the drug to treat the disease. Following all the concepts of pharmacology in creating the vaccine increases the success rate of it, and it also decreases the rate of potentially creating harmful side effects. Thank you for your time.
Since March of 2020, the Philippines have been under quarantine due to the rapid rise of cases of COVID-19 in the country. The given article talks about the vaccine for COVID-19. It was set as a promise that it would be ready in the late months of 2020, but from my perspective, it is still a blur. From what I have read, producing an effective vaccine for COVID-19 is a challenge because medical practitioners have to speed up their task for the use of many. I learned that creating a vaccine takes time, mainly because there are a lot of factors to consider before it should be given to the people. There are conditions that needed to be foreseen before we could fully say that a vaccine is safe for public distribution. Conditions that needed. With the information I have obtained, I can use it in the future when I become a registered nurse, since it is really important to know what kind of drug you are using or giving to your patient, and it is your responsibility as the nurse to help your patient give back their optimum health. It is really important to us students, while we are still studying, to have the knowledge of the uses, functions, the organs affected, the dosage, and the pros and cons of the drug. With pharmacology, I would have more knowledge when it comes to dealing with specific drugs for a specific disease or infection, and this would really help my patient and I as a nurse in the real future. For a specific
The COVID-19 was discovered on the year 2019 by the experts. It spreads unexpectedly all over the world and changed the daily lives of each individuals. People are struggling to find ways to tolerate stay-at-home orders, learning new habits throughout the day as school remains closed, and above all, Our stress and anxieties are piqued by the fear for contracting the coronavirus. As we see each day, the numbers of confirmed positive cases and deaths from the virus were very high. The article named COVID-19 vaccine was really informative because it talks about the notion of the vaccine where it forces the immune system for creating antibodies to fight virus and bacteria that infects an individual. And with that, it gives immunity and protection to the human body system. In correlation to this phenomenal virus, it also states the progress of the vaccine and how it developed, in which it addresses of how hard and how long the process of testing to come up a safe and effective vaccine to cure a COVID-19. In our previous activity, me and my groupmates shared different ideas about the COVID-19 vaccine. And with that, we analyzed each of our ideas about the pros and cons of the vaccine so that we can come up a great collaboration of our understanding to the article. As I quoted, with a great teamwork comes with great output. The information that I obtained from the article has a big contribution to the pharmacology, because vaccine is one of the primary sources of medicine to protect everyone from microorganisms that can cause diseases. The medication and vaccine are very essential because they can be considered dangerous and good at the same time. As a future nurse, we need to be more resilient and knowledgeable so that we can promote safety and protection to our future patients.
My experience during this activity is quite challenging. Because of this pandemic, we had hard time to communicate. We can't see each other in person by my group mates, but we still managed to pass the activity on time. My group mates are very intelligent and helpful when it comes to group meetings. We share our thoughts, knowledge that is related to the activity, and coping up in time despite my members or my group mates had difficulties on their internet connection. How will you use the information you obtain relate to the current concept of pharmacology? So the information that I will obtain based on the article that I've been read, it helps us to be knowledgeable about the virus and what is happening in today's world. In the article, make the people aware the virus that caused the pandemic. Information in the article that relate the concept of pharmacology is about vaccine and how it works. The stages of vaccine development. So there are 6 stages of vaccine development. First is the virus analysis. So what caused the body immune response to the virus infection? Second is the vaccine is developed. Which component should go to the virus or the vaccine that injected to the animals? So that is the third stages, no? So the third is the animal trial. Before we go to the human trials, we should first do the animal trial. Focus on the effectiveness and the tolerance of the animals. So when the animal trials is complete, the next step is the human trials. So vaccine is tested for those volunteers like who got the coronavirus and over different stages. So the next phase is the approval phase. So If this is approved, so the vaccine will go over a mass production, will go to the public places, or vaccine is produced for general population. This is the stages of vaccine development. So thank you for listening for me. So I am Daryl Dabudabu, and goodbye.
So hi guys, my name is Ralph Christian Aline and I am from BSN 2C. And today I'll be doing activity 3 which is entitled Explain. So in the past activity we've read an article about COVID-19 vaccine. So today I'll be doing and giving my insights about the article. So the article was entitled COVID-19 Vaccine. It came from the website called WebMD and it addresses all informations about coronavirus vaccine, what does it do, how it is being developed. So personally, I really thought that making a vaccine is easy, like eating a piece of cake. As I read the article, I realized that making a vaccine is difficult. It has to undergo certain processes before it can be made to the public. So the first process that I learned is the exploratory stage, where the scientists would find something to treat or to prevent a disease, and it usually takes around 2 to 4 years to complete. Then, the next stage is the preclinical trials, where they would test it with animals, and it usually takes around 1 to 2 years before it can be completed. Then, the next stage is the clinical development, where the scientists would test the vaccine to humans, and it has three different phases. During phase 1, the scientists would test the vaccine to hundreds of humans, and it usually takes around 1 to 2 years. Then, phase 2, the scientists would test the vaccine to several hundreds of humans, and it usually takes around 2 years. And the phase 3 is the scientists would test the vaccine to thousands of humans, and it usually takes around 3 years before it can be made. Then, the vaccine should undergo regulatory and approval from the FDA and CDC before it can be made to the public. Then, the management and the quality control of the vaccine will be given to the government to ensure public safety. So that's it, Joss.
Good day, sir. I hope you're doing fine and you're safe. For the question number 1, what have you learned or experienced from previous activity with your group mates? In the previous activity, the new things that I learned is that there are different stages of developing vaccines. First is the explanatory stage, which lasts 2 to 4 years. The second is preclinical stage, which lasts 1 to 2 years. The third one is a clinical development, which has a 3-phase process. For the phase 1, it lasts for 1 to 2 years. For the phase 2, it takes at least 2 years, while in the phase 3, it lasts 3 to 4 years. All in all, it is 15 years. The last stage is the manufacturing. At this stage, the vaccine goes into production and it is ready to distribute. Those are the things that I learned from the article. While as a group, the most important experience that I encounter is that cooperation, patience, and understanding to each other conquers everything when it comes to grouping activities. For the second question, how will you use the information you obtain related with current concept of pharmacology? For me, pharmacology deals about drugs or medicines, on how it will work in your body, what are the kind of medicine you will take in that certain disease, and what are the side effects of these drugs or medicines to your body.